Azumanga Daioh is a series that needs no introduction to this channel. The series has received a resurgence of popularity this decade, and I have had the honour of being one of the most popular content creators in the Azumanga Daioh community, making videos such as the Osaka highlight compilations, Osaka lip sync videos, and much more. Hello there chaps, I'm Kirby Bulborb, and in this video I'll go over why I joined the Azumanga Daioh community and how the series has helped my mental health significantly improve following an extremely traumatic situation. Many years prior to making Azumanga Daioh videos, I started out on YouTube as a Pikmin content creator with a focus on Pikmin plush videos. I started making these videos when I was 11, and in addition to making my own Pikmin plush videos, I also collaborated with someone who would become a close friend of mine in the Pikmin community, Pikmin Jake, across our respective Pikmin plush series. For years I had a lot of fun making these videos, but lost a lot of the motivation I had as a result of an extremely traumatic situation I became involved in. At the time I was making all my Pikmin plush content, right back to the very first videos I made aged 11, I was attending a high school named Walton Hall Academy. At the end of my penultimate year there, I befriended a girl named Nicole Griffin, and we later became best friends the following year. Due to the age gap between us at the time, being 18 and 14 respectively, we only spent time together consensually and wanted to just be best friends from the beginning. Unfortunately, other students took notice of our close friendship and began shipping us as a couple, which they named Peter Griffin, after the Family Guy protagonist of the same name, in reference to my IRL first name and Nicole's last name. This ship soon became popular within the school, causing both me and Nicole to be subjected to numerous sexually charged comments from both students and staff, including repeated questions from students about when we would have sex, accusations from a female staff member that I followed Nicole around and stood outside her classroom, and an accusation by a male member of staff that I wanted to get on top of Nicole again. In contrast to this alleged perception of us, me and Nicole only spent time with each other consensually and, due to just wanting to be best friends from the start, would never have done the alleged sexual acts. And the age gap we had at the time was exactly the reason we both wanted to just be best friends from the beginning, but we were shipped together against our wishes. I would never behave predatory towards any minors. I questioned the school's major focus on me and Nicole while simultaneously not taking sufficient action against other students who actually behaved inappropriately. One major example being a male student who, despite admitting to not being on the spectrum and wishing that he was, not only ended up in that school despite not having special needs, but two of his siblings did too, despite not having special needs either. And despite not being on the spectrum, the school put him and his siblings on a massive pedestal and let him get away with conduct he shouldn't have been allowed to get away with, including constantly absconding from maths and art lessons, calling me a paedophile and throwing names of actual paedophiles at me, and yelling at another student to get cancer when he knew my father was dying of that same illness and that I was in the room, scared, on the floor. Their response to his accusation against me was to not take it further, while this straight up abuse towards another student only got him a 3-day suspension. But if I had done any of what he did, I'm sure the staff would have come down on me like a ton of bricks, and they did this over something I never even had any intention of doing. To let this guy get away with all that he did was completely unacceptable. The placement of him and his siblings at that school was very odd, given how my brother and none of Nicole's siblings went there, but somehow all but one of this guy's siblings end up there. Having anger management problems or fainting aren't, and shouldn't be, enough to land you in a place like that. But whatever the bizarre circumstances or reasoning for his and practically his entire family's placements there, he was not dealt with in a remotely appropriate way by the staff. A female student was also not dealt with in a remotely appropriate way, despite being a known predator. She asked for a picture of my genitals on several occasions. I can't describe in words how uncomfortable this made me feel, but I immediately turned down her perverted request and reported her behaviour to several staff the next day, showing them photographic evidence of her actions. Despite having proof of her conduct, she was not given a suspension, despite also doing the same thing to multiple people after the fact, one of whom was 15 at the time and as such was pressured into actually sending nudes. Viewing his nudes made this girl a paedophile. They had an actual paedophile in the school, and the staff responded by doing absolutely nothing, yet continued to come down on me like a ton of bricks and continue to act as if I was a predator despite their knowledge I had literally been the victim of an actual predator. If there was anyone there who wanted to get on top of underage people, it was the predatory girl who repeatedly harassed other students for nudes. I find it so disgusting they had a massive overreaction towards me whilst completely turning a blind eye to actual inappropriate shit going on, including allowing a known predator to repeatedly commit disgusting conduct. And despite it being blatantly inappropriate for a member of staff to come out with a comment like this, the staff member who alleged that I wanted to get on top of Nicole again was also not dealt with in a remotely appropriate way. The fact that a member of staff thought I was capable of doing something like that to a minor disturbs me to this day. And in regards to the ship name between me and Nicole and being called it dozens of times, it doesn't take a comedy genius to figure out that saying the exact same thing over and over again is objectively unfunny. Like everyone there who did that would be shit stand-up comics. So I'm leaving memes involving Family Guy to other Azumanga Daioh fans, as I can't do any myself due to what happened. It goes without saying that the only thing that got assaulted at that school was my confidence. There's one thing I can add that proves that I had no sexual intent towards Nicole, and that's how I responded to the Country Humans ordeal she and I both became involved with after we left school. I knew from research that this fandom, which involved sexualising countries, was dodgy from day one, so it was greatly concerning to see her become involved in such a dangerous fandom. Even though getting involved meant putting myself through a lot of stress, as a friend, I felt like I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. Nicole had been involved in the fandom for months beforehand, starting in March 2020, but I did not become aware of her involvement in Country Humans or the existence of the fandom at all until Nicole created a Facebook account in September 2020. At the time, Nicole was 16 while I was 20. Becoming quickly aware of the dangerous content in the community after watching two of Drew Durnill's videos about it, those being What the F Are Country Humans and Reading Horrible Fanfiction About Countries, I made multiple attempts to get Nicole out of the fandom out of fear for her safety, which annoyed a predatory fan of Country Humans named Aleph Najmi. Aleph first began speaking to Nicole on Discord in March 2020, after she was informed by others in the community that he was a popular member of it and would help make her popular, and he later added her as a friend on Facebook, in addition to adding her to dozens of Country Humans group chats on Messenger he created, which contained several other predatory fans. For unknown reasons, Aleph added me to one of these group chats, unknowingly exposing his conduct in the process, as this was where I was disgusted to witness Aleph having a sexually charged conversation with Nicole, involving them both having sex in front of Alexander, a fictitious brother of Nicole created by Aleph that was actually his alt account. My attempts to get Nicole out of the Country Humans fandom annoyed Aleph, as he wanted Nicole to remain in the fandom and potentially did not expect me to get involved, as none of the other people Nicole knew from school who she'd added as friends intervened. Jealous of the close friendship that Nicole had with me, Aleph alleged on multiple occasions that Nicole never cared about me, which alongside all the disgusting content I've seen in the community resulted in me contemplating suicide by jumping off a motorway bridge in my hometown. The news of which upset Nicole, but Aleph downplayed it, saying it was normal, which annoyed me. By the end of October 2020, Aleph posted a relationship status alleging that he and Nicole were in a relationship and forced Nicole to block me after he'd done the same, which upset me further as it, in addition to her continued involvement in the fandom despite its graphic content, appeared as if Nicole was choosing the community over her actual friends, such as myself. Aleph and Nicole continued communicating with each other until June 2021, by which point Nicole's family had found out about her involvement in the community, and she spent the next couple of years away from the internet while her mental health recovered, while I was left severely traumatised and suicidal for years. During Nicole's involvement in the Country Humans fandom, I was really worried about her and tried everything I possibly could to get her out of the fandom. In the end I succeeded, though after my mental health had taken a massive hit from it all. A predator would not behave as I did. They would behave like someone Nicole encountered in the fandom. Someone like Aleph, who admitted in a group chat that he wanted to molest her. The fact the school treated me as if I was the same as Aleph, despite me never having been a sexually minded person, was disgusting and upsetting. I only truly began to recover from all this after becoming a fan of Azumanga Daioh in 2023. I'd previously been a fan of multiple slice of life anime including Keroro, Nichijou and Haruhi Suzumiya. My first exposure to Azumanga Daioh was through the video Osaka is Smart, and I was immediately drawn to the series' humour and characters, particularly its flagship character Osaka and fellow knuckleheads Tomo and Kagura. The following year, I made my own Azumanga Daioh videos, most notably a compilation highlighting memorable moments featuring Osaka from the anime, which has reached over 400,000 views so far, and have made similar compilations featuring memorable moments of her from the OVAs, one of which reached over 100,000 views. With the success of these videos, I had established myself as a notable Azumanga Daioh content creator, and have since made numerous other videos related to the series, such as Osaka lip sync videos and compilations featuring other characters. Azumanga Daioh has been a method of escapism for me, and it remains my go-to comfort show. I'm currently doing my best to hold the school accountable for what happened there, but I would not have had the motivation to get justice I do now if not for Azumanga Daioh. I can't put into words how helpful both the series, making videos about it, and the Azumanga Daioh community support has been to me, and I appreciate it more than words alone can say. To everyone in the Azumanga Daioh community who has supported me, both publicly and privately, thank you so much.